Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a Monday edition of Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network, along with my compadre, Donald Eng. I'm Rob Adams. Compadre. It was there. I needed something.
Yeah, you can just call me the Tony Tennille of this particular duo.
Considering we were discussing Captain and Tennille and, or I don't even know where to go with that, but that was our musical talk pre-show, which was a little concerning. But how was your weekend?
It was pretty good, other than having to assemble a activity desk on Father's Day Eve. Other than that, it was very nice. Got to see Finding Dory. We're looking forward to that. That was that was a good time.
All right, I have to be honest.
I'm being laughed at off camera, but that's okay.
I have to be honest, and I saw someone else tweet that he also saw. In fact, the radio broadcaster of the Houston Astros, I sort of know him, and he also saw Finding Dory with his beautiful daughter. I have to ask, here on the show, better or worse or as good as the original?
Not as good, mostly because the first time you saw Finding Nemo, you were just kind of blown away with. A lot of things just kind of surprised you. There weren't really any surprises in Finding Dory, and also the thing is with Finding Nemo is that it takes place over a fairly short period of time. When you watch Finding Dory, you can't when you're a parent get around the fact that Dory disappeared and was gone for years before. Before I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's got a happy ending. Okay, so let's everyone just calm down.
All right. It's a potpourri Monday, Don. That's what it's come down to. Eric Gendron's yelling at us off camera, so let's dive into the sports portion of the program. And really, there are a bunch of things going on a local level. Among them, and we'll get to Athletes of the Week. We're going to announce the Week 9 winners. We have the Week 10 nominees coming up. But among those things going on, I want to spend at least a minute, and hopefully we'll get him on the show because he's a friend of all of us here. Danny Melzer, the head basketball coach at Stanford High School, announced last week, we had it on coffee break, but we've been off, of course, Thursday, Friday, that he is moving from Stanford over to New Canaan, where he will take over. Apparently, he's also going to have a job in the New Canaan school system. He's a great guy. He's a Stanford grad. He played for Jim Moriarty. He was an assistant there. Then he was the head guy after Mo stepped down to become AD. I'm happy for him. It's an interesting change, but I am happy for him.
It is an interesting change, and it's one of the things that you kind of have to remember when we're talking about high school and local sports like this, is that these aren't high-dollar NBA coaches. I'm sure he would have, in a perfect world, he probably would have loved to have stayed at his alma mater. And in a perfect world, obviously, Stanford has more of a basketball tradition than New Canaan does. But in this case, he has to look out for his career also. And working in New Canaan, having that opportunity to kind of be in the school system, have a job, and then coach the team, that's an opportunity that you really can't pass up.
Coming off an under 500 season, replacing a coach who was well liked at New Canaan High School. Again, interesting is the word that keeps coming to my mind. But as you said, you've got to worry about your career. You've got to be concerned with other things. But one more time, New Canaan not known as being a basketball hotbed. You wonder if he sees this as an opportunity to create a legacy at New Canaan High School.
Well, sure. That's New Canaan obviously always more of a hockey school as far as the winter sports go. But clearly, obviously, there's a possibility there that for someone to come in and build a program, certainly, that could almost be that would almost be building a legacy, as he said.
So good luck to Danny Melzer. Of course, we're months away from basketball, but we'll get him on the show. I'm curious, kind of pick his brain and see what made him decide to make this move.
Yeah, it is an off-season move. I haven't even thought about basketball in hours.
We'll come back to that. I do want to spend just a moment toward the end of the show on what happened last night, because I do think for sports everywhere, what happened last night was fairly significant. Again, kind of a potpourri. Let's spend some time on some of these other things, and we'll stay in the high school ranks. Nice to see Simon Matthias, the Ridgefield graduate, getting a little notoriety in his own right. Was a really good lacrosse player, and now Simon Matthias is an award winner as well. Good for him. The Ridgefield High graduate was named as one of the U.S. Lacrosse All-Americans from Connecticut, and also chosen to compete in the Under Armour All-American game as he plays at the University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, a great accomplishment. I'm trying to think. The other countries was it Canada and a few other countries. You don't really think of lacrosse as being like a uniquely American game, but it's not, which is kind of cool to see.
Matthias has been named to the USA team that will be competing in next month's Federation of International Lacrosse Under-19 Men's Lacrosse World Championships, and that will be in British Columbia. So congratulations to Simon Matthias. The Americans are the reigning world champions. So pretty cool there. I mean, we saw him here on the HAN network when he played at Ridgefield High School. He's a great player and again, a guy who is building himself quite a career as a lacrosse player.
Well, and you think about it, when you think about it, like you have opportunities like that in sports. One of the great things I like to say is someone getting an education, University of Pennsylvania, and then also international experience. That's just an outstanding aspect of sports that really needs to be discussed more, I think.
I agree. So best of luck to Simon Matthias, and good on him for sure. Some other things that I want to bounce around on, and we'll get to some of the the minor league stuff and some of our other brethren around this area, but we'll stay on the truly hyper-local level, at the youth level, if you will, and get to American Legion Baseball. I thought this was significant because Trumbull had been undefeated in the 19 under division, and out come the Greenwich Cannons, taking 2 of 3 from Trumbull this weekend. Now, they split a doubleheader on Saturday, but Greenwich got the victory yesterday. Greenwich looks like they're playing some pretty good baseball. And again, sometimes you're not talking about the high school players, but by and large, a lot of the names are ones that we're used to talking about.
Right. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, Greenwich is really, both towns have a very strong baseball tradition. Very, very interesting because Trumbull had been playing so well. For Greenwich to come in, beat them 2 out of 3, they could really set themselves up as one of the favorites in the zone.
I agree. I think, and I'd been hearing that buzz from Micah Beatty's team out of Greenwich that the Cannons were really somebody to be reckoned with this year. But Trumbull, post 141, very good as well. A 1-0 game yesterday in favor of Greenwich. It did take 10 innings to get that win. Greenwich now 9-1 on the season, while Trumbull is now 10-2 after losing the 2 out of 3 to Greenwich. And both of them get theoretically a soft landing, with Trumbull taking on Westport. Westport only 2-8 right now, and Greenwich, I believe, gets Bridgeport in their next go-around as well. They will. That is today, in fact, at 5:30. But again, the names you're familiar with. Alex Leparco of Greenwich, a good player there. Connor Langen, who had such a great season for the Cardinals. He pitched on yesterday and was relieved by Leparco in that game. But Chris O'Brien for Trumbull, he pitched well as well. 3 hits, 3 strikeouts, no walks. Justin Waldeck, Vinny DeRubius with a big single. Dustin Cicada. Again, names that we're familiar with just from the past month or two.
And just as a side topic, I'm just looking at the Greenwich Cannons webpage. I want a cap with that logo on it.
It's a good logo,
Isn't
right?
that great?
It is a pretty cool
I mean,
logo.
I thought I picked my Premiership soccer team favorite based on the Cannon logo, but Greenwich has that beat.
I mean, I don't know. Is that the way you really want to pick your logo, though? Or you pick your team off a logo?
I don't particularly have any loyalty to any other. It might as well be that as any other team in England. That's
just busting your chops.
I'm just saying. Mike Suppy is a Tottenham Hotspur fan, so I had to just kind of be antagonistic also.
Cannon. Is that?
That's
no.
Arsenal.
I was going to say Arsenal's the Gunners, right?
Yes, and they have a Cannon
okay,
logo.
Okay. See, I know a thing or two about Premiership. So anyway, good job by Greenwich getting that win. And it seems like in the zone, it's Greenwich and Trumbull right now. They are the top 2 teams that you're going to be looking at. But can anyone else climb into that discussion?
I don't want to say I don't think so, but I don't think so. I think those 2 teams have really set themselves up as being the teams to beat so far in this in this season. Based on on the results we've seen so far, I think it's going to be between Greenwich and Trumbull.
It does look like it right now, but there's Stamford at 9-1. Darien New Canaan has combined for an 8-1 record right now. Trumbull dropping to 10-2, as we said. So they seem to be kind of your big dogs. Wilton right behind them at 6-2, and then the drop off to the other teams. So frustrating for Ridgefield at 0-11 right now. They can't seem to get out of their own way. But the top 4 and really 5, if you throw in Wilton, of Stamford, Greenwich, Darien New Canaan, Trumbull, Wilton. That's some good baseball among all those teams.
Yeah, American Legion baseball is very good. It's you think of it, it's basically you're looking at high school juniors and seniors with some college freshmen thrown in here and there. Particularly, as I mentioned last week, in teams with combined towns. I mean, you have Darien was the FCIAC baseball champions. Combine them with New Canaan and then bring back some of their graduating seniors from last year, and you've got a heck of a good baseball team.
Stanford has won 4 in a row, so they're certainly worth keeping an eye on. They've got Darien New Canaan today. They've got Fairfield tomorrow, with Fairfield again on Wednesday and Thursday before they play Trumbull. So good week for Stanford to stay right in the thick of this as well, along with Greenwich, and we said the other teams as well. Why don't we grab a break here on Nutmeg Sports? We'll continue on with more of the program right after this on the HAN Network.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning.
Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. My property taxes on my single-family home were close to $20,000 a year. Now that I've downsized and I'm in a townhome, and because of the condo tax laws, my fees have gone from $20,000 down to about $5,300 with the star exemption. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports with Don. I mean, the legend of Muskrat Love. No, I'm kidding. I just want to see Eric Gendron lose his head again.
I was trying to come up with the sidekick quick. I was going to say, call me the Andrew Ridgely of this particular group, but we should talk sports.
It was fun to just watch Eric's head explode. All right, let's climb back into it. We have the All-FCIAC softball team was announced, so let's climb into the nomination, or should I say the winners, the members of the All-FCIAC team. We'll give you the first team first, starting with the pitchers. Don, take it away.
All right, in the circle, we have Brittany Romero of Fairfield Ludlow, Kaylee Westington of Ridgefield, Nicole Williams of St. Joseph, and Sarah Staley.
So let's go through that one more time.
Stanford.
You're looking at Brittany Romero.
Looking at Brittany Romero, Fairfield Ludlow, first team All-FCIAC. Followed by Kaylee Washington of Ridgefield, also on the first team. Nicole Williams
Westington
of St. Joe's. We've had her on a couple of times. And finally, Sarah Staley of Stamford.
Sarah Staley. We saw Sarah Staley pitch a couple of times this year. She pitched so well for Stanford. And we know this. When you're a pitcher in softball, you get the ball every day.
Right. There's no, it's not like, there's no real rotation. Your number one pitcher in softball takes the ball every day, and also, you're playing these teams in some cases twice during the regular season, then again in the playoffs, maybe again in the state playoffs. So, there's going to be a lot of familiarity, and you really have to be on your game every time because odds are the other pitcher is going to be on theirs also.
I will take the catchers next. We will start with Molly Keshin of New Canaan High School. Congratulations to Molly. These are the first team catchers. Next up, Giovanna Hillman of St. Joseph. There she is. And to Jordan Benzikin of West Hill.
Outstanding action shot there.
Great shot. All right.
Love it.
To the fielders now, and it's infield and outfield. I'll start first, and we'll throw it over to Don after a couple. Julia Lehner of Danbury. Rachel Keshin of New Canaan will be next up, with Dina de Blasio of Norwalk to follow, and Melissa Bike of St. Joseph. And now Lauren O'Neill of Stamford. With that said, we go back to Don.
All right. Gabby Perry of Staples, first team All-FCAC, congratulations. Leah Zarilli of Trinity Catholic. Leah Thompson of Trumbull. Then Adriana Gambino of West Hill. And her West Hill teammate, Kara Ramon of West Hill, first team All-FCAC.
So there's the first team for you. The rest of the nominees are all at fcac.net. You can learn who and I keep saying nominees, I don't know why, I'm sorry. The winners.
The winners.
Of all
First
FCAC.
team All-FCAC.
First team, second team, and the honorable mentions are all to be found at fcac.net. So congratulations to all of them. I want to spend a few minutes before we get to Athletes of the Week. We'll do that in our final segment. But, some of the other local stuff going on around here, Don, that it kind of expands our circle. As we climb into summer, we're able to talk more about the Connecticut Tigers, who are already 2-1 on the year in the New York Penn League, the New Britain Bees and the Bluefish, and, really some of the other things going on around the state, the Breakettes, the Westerners. But first and foremost, we haven't touched on this yet, but this complete and utter mess going on in Hartford with the Yard Goats and Dunkin' Donuts Park. I mean, first, the city fires the developer, and now they have no insurance for this ballpark. There sits, a multi-million-dollar boondoggle sitting in Hartford.
Right, and there seems to be, we've been trying to get some people on to talk about it, there seems to be some kind of discrepancy there's, as always, plenty of blame to go around. The city obviously blaming the developer. The developer said that he presented the plan and that the city gave him a plan that was just completely never going to work. And so now you have this mostly completed baseball stadium sitting empty. It's starting to look like it's going to take some sort of miracle for the Yard Goats to even play a game in Hartford this year. And never mind the fact that just down the highway, New Britain now is actually playing baseball with their Atlantic League team.
And there was not a chance. There have been those who have said, well, why don't the Yard Goats go back and play in New Britain? There is not a chance that the Yard Goats would ever go play in that stadium again. You talk about burning a bridge. They've already done that. So New Britain is gone. And the reality of putting the Yard Goats in Dodge Stadium for the rest of the season isn't very realistic either, unless you're able to have them there on days when the Tigers, remember, the Tigers have to play their games there first and foremost. I mean, what are you going to do? Have these split admission double headers in which you've got the Yard Goats playing the 1 o'clock game and then along come the Tigers for the 7 o'clock game? I don't think that's realistic either. So the Yard Goats are becoming this nomadic group that are going to, they're in Manchester, New Hampshire tonight. They were in Reading, Pennsylvania last week, and they're hosting home games on these sites. It's not good. It's not good, and the thing is, it's pretty clear that this whole thing was rushed and just poorly thought out. I mean, they clearly the folks up in Hartford wanted to make a splash, move the team. They got it in their minds. They wanted a baseball team, and the timetable was too aggressive. They clearly thought that locating a professional baseball team in a city is a much simpler task than it actually is. I'm all for new stadiums, but I don't like the way this was handled. And I didn't like it from day one, the way it was handled. I didn't think it was necessary. I've always heard good things about the New Britain Stadium. I've only been outside of it. I've never been inside of it, to be fair. But the reviews were always pretty nice. This just seemed like a case where, people of power got involved and said, we want a new building, and we're going to have a new building, and as you said, too aggressive of a timeline. Right, and just checking the Atlantic League stats right now, the New Britain Bees got 4,122 for their game yesterday. They are averaging 3,007 fans per game, 26 dates. They have drawn a total of 78,190 fans through the turnstiles. By my count, that is 78,190 more than the Yard Goats have drawn at their new park. I mean, that's nothing wrong with that. 3,000 folks at a minor league, independent league baseball is, that's solid. And if there's actually 3,000 people in the building. I mean, now that's to be fair, and that's something I've often talked about is, You know, whether there are always going to be people who say, well, how are the Yankees, for instance, drawing 4 million? We see empty seats in the ballpark. That's what folks don't always remember. Most do, but there are those who don't understand. It's not the people in the seats. It's not the people going through the turnstiles that they count. It's tickets sold. That's the key fact. So when you're driving 95 and you're seeing, you know, the ballpark at Harbor Yard doesn't look like there are 3,000 in it, but the Bluefish are reporting 3,000, it's tickets sold. It's tickets that they were able to generate.
Right, it's tickets sold, and I don't imagine Nashua, New Hampshire, or any of those towns are big draws for the Hartford Yard Goats on a home game.
I wouldn't think so. In case you're wondering, by the way, you mentioned the numbers for the Bees. The Bees are 26 and 29, so they're not exactly lighting it up. They're 6.5 out in the Liberty division, with only the Bluefish down below them at 24 and 32. Bluefish have won 2 in a row, though, coming off of 7 and 3 in their last 10. So that's at least a little bit better. But it speaks to, you know, 26 and 29, you're under 500 baseball. Theoretically, that's not playing good baseball, but they're still drawing well. That's not bad.
No, it's really not bad. And particularly, you know, as you mentioned, you know, even if there aren't 3,000 people in the building, there's 3,000 tickets were still sold. You know, that's still generating revenue for the team, things like that. So definitely, you know, just to bring back to Hartford, I don't think anyone thought it would go this badly. Even a few months ago, when there were first rumblings that things weren't going well, I don't think we ever thought it would be this bad.
Just a final thought on the attendance numbers from the Atlantic League before we take another break. The Somerset Patriots drawing 5,200 a game. They had 69-19 yesterday. That is out in New Jersey.
Speaking of attendance here, also just some of the upcoming. Speaking of attendance and the Bluefish, some of the upcoming activities and events they're having. Let's see. We have Circle of Life night. Oh, we have landscaping and snowblowing night tomorrow. Don't know how that's going to work. Circle of Life night Wednesday, Olympics Day featuring Beer Olympics on Thursday, and my favorite, the 50,000 penny pickup on Friday. They will be dropping 50,000 pennies onto the field following the game. Participants can come and scoop up as many pennies as they can, and I hope they get them all, because the following night, Saturday night, is Girl Scout sleepover, so I don't want to be relying on pennies.
I will say I find promotions for both minor league and independent league to be completely fascinating. A conversation for another time. Let's take a break here on Nutmeg Sports. We'll continue Athletes of the Week when we return right after this on the HAN Network.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Chop off your knives to be sharpened. Grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com.
At the Language School in Ridgefield, we teach practical language for real life, tailored to your professional needs or those of your children. Offering more than a dozen languages, the school specializes in creating customized classes for businesses, government agencies, and healthcare professionals in Fairfield and Westchester counties. Native speakers from around the world will instruct students of all ages in the language and the culture using a hands-on method. Find out more about what makes us different at thelanguageschoolglobal.com or call us at 203-241-7010.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Welcome back to Monday's Nutmeg Sports with Donald Eng. I'm Rob Adams. Athlete of the Week time. First of all, we've got to get to the winners of last week, and we will just tell you who they are. Congratulations to Justin Clark of New Canaan. Justin Clark, the winner on the male side. Second place goes to Bobby Osborne, but a significantly large win for Justin Clark, the golfer from New Canaan High School. On the ladies' side, another win for Kanaje Brown of Bridgeport Central Track and Field. She had almost a 2-1 win over Sophia Barber from Darien Softball. Those your athletes of the week for Week 9. Don, congratulations to each of them.
Outstanding, especially, Kanaje Brown, again, with the track and field, not something that gets as much press generally as some of the other sports, like the stick and ball sports, but outstanding achievement and a spectacular athlete.
Why don't you get us started on the male athletes of the week for Week 10, keeping in mind these are now kind of the final Athlete of the Week nominees, so taking us through really the state tournament. Don, get us started.
We start with on the boys' side, 10 nominees this week, starting with Gabriel Altop, Ridgefield High School Track and Field, New England champion in the 3,200-meter run with a time of 9 minutes, 2 seconds.
I was there for this. Giacomo Brancato of Ward Baseball had 2 hits, including the game-tying 3-run homer in the 6th, but Fairfield Ward dropped the 4-3 decision to Amity in the Class LL State Championship.
St. Joseph lacrosse goalie Killian Donahue, 10 saves, including stops to open the final 3 periods as the 18th-seeded Cadets defeated number 3 East Catholic 9-2 in the state semis. He also had 11 saves in a 14-8 loss to top-seeded Somers High in the title game.
From Norwalk Tennis, Seiji Hosokawa won the State Open singles title with a 7-6, 7-3, 6-3 victory over Staples' Will Andrews. He made it to the finals as a junior, a pair of aces in the first set tiebreaker.
Darien lacrosse player Jack Niffen scored 4 goals in the semis and 3 more in the final as the Blue Wave completed an undefeated 22-0 season and won its 3rd straight Class L championship. The Wave put up 4 goals in an 8-6 semifinal win over Ridgefield. He also had 3 goals and an assist in an 18-3 romp over Simsbury.
From Ridgefield Volleyball, next up is Nick Ladotti, 35 kills to lead the offensive attack. Ridgefield defeated Darien 3-2 for the Class L championship last Thursday.
New Canaan senior co-captain David Strupp led a great defensive effort as New Canaan captured its 2nd straight Class M championship with a 13-2 win over Daniel Hand. The Rams allowed only 1 goal in each of the first quarters of the first half, shut out the Tigers for nearly 26 minutes through the 4th quarter. In 23 games this season, New Canaan held opponents to 5 goals or fewer 14 times.
Max Theodorakis of Danbury Golf is up next. He shot a 7 under 65 and topped the leaderboard at the Division I Boys Golf Championship. That, of course, a few weeks ago at Tallwood Country Club in Hebron. His day included 1 eagle, 5 birdies, 12 pars, and he did not bogey a hole. I'm quite jealous.
Yeah, I don't think I have had that many in my life.
No.
Eric Vander Els of Brian McMahon Track and Field, 1,600-meter champion at the New England Championships with a time of 4:12 and 47 hundredths.
To the ladies now, 5 nominees this week. We begin with Danbury Track and Field's Bridget Shea-Ravel. She won the 100 hurdles in 14.49 at the New England Championships in New Britain.
Greenwich golfer Catherine McAvoy, who won the FCAC Individuals June 2nd, added a state championship to her ledger with a 1/73 at the CIAC Girls Golf Tournament held last Tuesday. Her performance featured 3 birdies, 11 pars, and Greenwich took the overall championship.
Libby McKenna of Fairfield Ward Lacrosse. She scored 4 goals for the number 6 Mustangs in their 12-5 loss to top seed Darien in the Class L state title game.
Speaking of the Class L champs Darien Lacrosse, Susanna Ropp scored 4 goals and had an assist as Darien won its 4th consecutive Class L title, 12-5 over Fairfield Ward.
And last but not least, and in fact a good piece in the New Canaan Advertiser about Sammy Stewart. The lacrosse star had a pair of clutch goals during a 12-second span as New Canaan won their 2nd straight Class M championship 7-4 over Joel Barlow. Stewart's goals came with over just 11 minutes remaining and turned a 3-3 tie into a 5-3 lead. So Sammy Stewart of New Canaan Lacrosse. Get voting at HAN.network. We'll announce the winners next Monday. Before we say goodbye, Don, we don't do a lot nationally on this show for a reason. We are a hyper-local program. But I can't ignore what happened last night in Oakland, of course. A remarkable performance that I think transcends national and local First team ever to come back down 3-1 in an NBA final, and to put a city on LeBron James' back to win the first professional title in 52 years. I wasn't born the last time they won. Jim Brown was the star the last time they won, when it was the Cleveland Browns, of course, beating the Baltimore Colts in the '64 championship. There's a significance that I think we have to at least spend a moment on before we say goodbye.
Particularly with a local guy coming back home, he broke their hearts when he left. It just, especially with the decision. Then he returned and said, he wanted so badly to bring a championship to his adopted hometown. I mean, he's from nearby, and then to actually do it, particularly with the performance he had, leading in essentially every category. What can I say? LeBron James is the best basketball player I've ever seen. There, I said it, guys. You can hit me up on Twitter, tell me how wrong I am, but sorry.
Let's see, where's Don? So I can start. I will say, still not better than Michael Jordan, but that's a total different conversation for a totally different show. I just thought it was a very significant moment for all sports that any athlete at any level should be looking at and going, you got to at least tip your cap. That's it.
That's what you aspire to.
There are haters everywhere when it comes to a LeBron James. We know the decision was a farce, and you want to keep it local. It happened right down in Greenwich. I was there. It was a mess. He surpassed that, and he put on a performance really for the ages with a block late in that game called so wonderfully by Mike Breen on ABC last night. I mean, we're going to remember that block for a long time.
I mean, on that, where did he take off from? The top of the key?
Pretty much.
Maybe one of the rafters. I have no idea where he came from, but yeah, he was flying.
So I just wanted to spend a minute on that because I really thought it was quite a moment for all of sports at every level. With all that said, see you tomorrow.
Will.
All right. Eric Gender and Andrew Mitchell, thank you guys. We're back with you tomorrow. Eric wants to yell sports some more. Eric will host tomorrow. No, I'm only kidding. We'll be back here tomorrow. Don and I will tomorrow break down the music of America. No, more sports tomorrow. For Donald Hang, I'm Rob Adams. Enjoy your Monday right here on the 8 J.M. Network.